I think the biggest story in sports this morning might be the Rose Bowl situation. And I know that everybody wants to talk Jazz basketball in the NBA. We'll get back to that coming up in about 25 minutes here on the Monty Show. But we want to talk about the Rose Bowl because this is a pretty big situation, I think. How important is the Rose Bowl? Is the Rose Bowl vital to the college football playoff? Because I think in these times where we're trying to figure out where college football realignment, where's the Pac-12, the Big 12, who's going where, doing what, sometimes we tend to lose focus on what we're all fighting for in these conversations. A trip to the college football playoff and a shot at the national championship.
Right.
That's what we're all fighting for. The Rose Bowl historically, even back to the BCS days, and has been a huge part of that. And my question is, as a college football fan, is the Rose Bowl significant to you? And here's why this matters today. The Rose Bowl, according to sources at ESPN, has agreed to renegotiate their contract with the college football playoff so that the college football playoff can expand in 2024, fully 2 years ahead of schedule, allowing 12 teams to have access to the college football playoff. But the Rose Bowl had hesitated. The Rose Bowl was trying to leverage this negotiation to get the number one exclusive window in college football on New Year's Day, whether they're in the college football playoff cycle or not, because not every year is the Rose Bowl in the college football playoff cycle. Well, they were saying to college football and the NCAA, hey, it doesn't matter what year we're in or we're out. Every single year, the Rose Bowl will get an exclusive TV window, which is worth over $100 million in ad dollars alone.
I'm for real.
To the Rose Bowl. And they said, hey, if we don't get that, we're not going to sign this deal. Well, the college football playoff held their water and didn't give it to them. They said, we're not going to be able to guarantee that. We'll do our best, but we're not going to be able to guarantee that. And the Rose Bowl blinked. They, according to sources, agreed to renegotiate their deal. So now the Rose Bowl remains in the college football playoff cycle instead of being eliminated. But my question this morning is, how important to you, the college football fan, to us as a group of college football fans, how important is the Rose Bowl? Now, if you're a Utah fan, obviously the Rose Bowl has completely different ramifications. The Rose Bowl is that game that you go to because you won the Pac-12 championship. But if you're a Pac-12 fan, a Utah fan, a BYU fan, a Big 12 fan, an SEC football fan, how important is the Rose Bowl? Does it matter to you? Do you care about it? Jake, you're a 28, about to be 29-year-old guy. Is the Rose Bowl significant to you?
Not in the parlance of, hey, this game's at the Rose Bowl, so I'm going to get excited. Not in that setting. What does excite me is the matchup, though. Hey, we're going to get this premier, SC Utah matchup, let's say, or this premier, whatever the matchup would be in college football. And yeah, it's in Southern California, and yeah, it's at the Rose Bowl. Okay, yeah, that excites me. And I think the thing is that the stadium isn't really why we're watching, right? We can all agree on that. Like if Alabama and Georgia was held in Notre Dame Stadium versus Jerry World, that really probably wouldn't make too much of a difference for me because it's still going to be a phenomenal football game. But the fact is if it's in some grand stadium, that just kind of adds to the allure. I look at the Super Bowl. What was that, 2 years ago now for the Rams, right? At their stadium.
SoFi, yep.
At SoFi. That was a hell of a halftime show. I remember sitting by a pool watching that Super Bowl, and everyone was like, oh my God, all these names, and it's in LA, and look at all the people at the game, and blah, 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 blah. Like, that's the significance for me in my watching experience that really matters. But I'm definitely not sitting here saying, oh man, dude, if the Rose Bowl doesn't renew their agreement, my day's ruined. I can't watch college football.
I don't know how we'll ever go on.
Like it's not like it. Like, great, it's the Rose Bowl, neat.
But listen, it is historically significant.
It is.
It is one. I don't think anymore, because of the college football playoff, I don't think it's the most important bowl. It's not the granddaddy of them all. It's not that game anymore.
I think it used to be because of its capacity and how many people it can hold.
I don't listen. I don't disagree with that. And I also think like the parade. I think the pageantry. I think the experience of going to the Rose Bowl made it this big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not a big deal anymore. I think the Rose Parade is still a big deal. I think the pageantry is still a big deal.
Right.
The significance of the football game, I think, is lessened unless it is in the college football playoff cycle, unless the Utes are in it against Ohio State, right? But right now, today, and as a Utah fan, I'd love to hear from you on this. Can you tell me that this game tomorrow in Las Vegas is not just as big or, in fact, more important to you than the Rose Bowl itself? Because nothing is on the line at the Rose Bowl, in my opinion. It's cool. Hey, we're Rose Bowl champions. We went to the Rose Bowl. Hey, remember in 2023, we won the Rose Bowl and it was awesome. Cool. You're playing for a conference championship.
Facts.
You're playing for a banner. You're playing for pride. You're playing for forever.
Legacy.
It's USC. It's Utah. It's legacy.
It's Cam Rising's career.
We won the conference back-to-back games. Back-to-back years, rather. To me, the conference championship, now that it's out of San Francisco and Levi Stadium, which I think was a joke, now that it's in Vegas, it has that panache to it. It has that feeling. Does it feel like the history and tradition of the Rose Bowl? Well, no, it doesn't. But significant in your football program? Hell yes.
But it doesn't. But
I think that game's more important.
But it's not a big deal because it's at Allegiant, right? Like,
no.
I want to make this point. Nobody gives a damn that it's at Allegiant. Allegiant doesn't that's a nice stadium, cool. BYU did some significant losing in that stadium. Utah has a chance to do some winning.
BYU did some significant
right? Like,
losing.
That's what we as Utah football, state of Utah football fans know it for. But I'm not sitting here saying, hey, yeah, this is a really important game because it's on a Friday and it's at Allegiant. Nobody gives a damn that it's at Allegiant. It's in Vegas. Great. We got a comment this morning. Hop in the car. We're hopping in the car, gassing up. Got to stop by Maverick. Like, great, cool. We're going to Vegas. That's why it matters. Hey, we're going to Southern California. Yeah. That's why it matters. Not because it's at the Rose Bowl, not because it's at Allegiant, not because it's at Jerry World or the Superdome or whatever. So the building adds to the allure, right? Especially if you're in person, but it's not the reason that the game is meaningful. That's the difference. So with all due respect to the folks at the Rose Bowl and them wanting premier slots and everything, I get it. It's business. No college football fan is breaking their back to make sure that they watch any given game because it's at your building.
Yeah, I think the Rose Bowl has lost its luster a little bit. And I would just look at the Big Ten side of this. Would you rather beat Ohio State in the final game of the year? If you're Michigan and you're gonna, let's be honest, you're going to the college football playoff. But if you beat Ohio State and you go to the Rose Bowl and okay, cool. Who remembers Charles Woodson with the rose in his mouth? Yeah, that's really cool, but it's only because you won that game.
Right, but I don't remember that. My generation doesn't
I would agree,
that,
and I think
right?
that's a really important point.
I didn't experience that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you don't watch The Godfather either. Like, it's just that thing where you don't know what's important, right? But I think that's actually in all seriousness, I think that's a really good point. You're a 29-year-old guy on the 18th of December. It doesn't matter to you. You don't remember Lou Holtz in Notre Dame. You don't remember Bo Schembechler and Charles Woodson and Desmond Howard.
I remember Charles Woodson as a Packer and a Raider.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I do. Let's get some of your thoughts in here. Gage Carter says, I think it's very important. And Gage and you are in the same generation. NY Monty fan, I think makes the best point in the morning. Let's take some time and slap that like button. Remember, Santa's elves are watching. My guy. Let's go.
Let's go.
If all 130 people here would hit the like button, that would be transformative for the show. Please consider hitting the like button. Give us a subscribe. By the way, a lot of people have asked if we're still giving away the Jazz Cavs tickets. Yes, we're taking you to game, but we got to get to 9,000 subs.
Yeah. In
the next 31 days.
And by the way, I have to say, Vivint looks really nice. Vivint looks amazing, dude.
Amazing. But we're at 8,150 subs right now.
Dude, come on now.
Well within reach.
Yeah.
Well within reach.
Tell
Let's
your friends.
go.
Tell your people. I can't remember, was it Solace who made a second account to subscribe? Like, come on.
Let's go. Let's do this. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. 33 likes on almost 500 views this morning. Let's go. Hit that like button. Boyd Lake says the Rose Bowl is the Grandaddy, but is it still? Is it still?
I don't know, man.
And my Monty fan makes a great point. Is it the Rose Bowl or the Rose Bowl?
Well, ask Rick Ross.
I think Rick Ross would tell you it's the Rose Bowl. Tyler P., who it should be noted has the best helmet, in my opinion. That helmet, the matte black with the red U on it.
Bomb.
Says it's huge. It's always been one of the most iconic games in college football.
But this is my curiosity. Why, though? In your opinion? Because I think the opinion on this particular topic is what really, really matters. Like, the why for me on why I don't think it's that big of a deal right now, and the why for you on why it is a big deal really matters.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Big Ten or a Pac-12 fan, it matters. I think if you are a Big 12 fan, it doesn't matter nearly as much.
But is it a big deal because it holds, what does it hold, 100,000 people?
Yeah, because it's a big deal. I don't think the building is the big deal.
Well,
I think the history and tradition and I think the whole experience, going to Lowry's, the prime rib, everything leading up to it, you're in Hollywood, I think that's what the big deal is.
Yeah.
M. Alvarez says it's a tradition unlike any other. Wait. Is that the Masters, you mean?
Oh, man, dude.
San Diego State says, Boyd Lake, I concur, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah,
remember Keith Jackson?
Listen, maybe I'm on an island on this one. I know the Rose Bowl's a big deal, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Roger Sales says, growing up, the Rose Bowl was the big bowl. Now it feels like an old Roman building you go and see to watch it crumble. Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yep. Rose Bowl has to be in the college football playoff to be meaningful. See, that's my point.
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl, I'm 49. Obviously, we're in two different positions in life.
Yeah.
I gave birth to you through seed. But so you're much younger than me. I think that it is very clear for my generation, I think the Rose Bowl has a lot of meaning to it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many people here are even in my generation, probably not many. But for my generation growing up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the Rose Bowl had tremendous value to me. It was something I looked forward to. But again, I grew up a Notre Dame and an Illinois fan, right?
The Fighting Illini.
But Notre Dame never played in the Rose Bowl, right? Like it wasn't something you fought for every year. We more fought to keep Michigan out. When Michigan and Notre Dame played every year, we fought to keep Michigan out, right? Yes. I think those are the things that I grew up thinking about, but I watched the Rose Bowl every year. My mom made me watch the Rose Parade every year.
Yeah.
Right? So it has meaning to me, for sure. Tyler P. says the Rose Bowl by name is iconic, but the stadium itself is old. Absolutely right. Nailed it. Arlington Bears, good morning, Karn. The Rose Bowl is just an extension of the Pac-12. They think they're way bigger than they are. Ooh. Well, Chris Karn's awake, everybody.
I don't know that I agree 100% with that. I don't know that I agree. I see where you're coming from.
Is it appropriate to say good morning, Chris Karn?
Yeah, I mean, dude came
They
in
think
hot.
they're bigger than they are.
Final.
Wow. Good morning.
Yeah.
That might be the first heat check.
Yeah, that was a hot
in the
take
morning.
for sure.
M. Morris says so many top players hold out for these games. They do.
Another consideration.
Yeah. BYU owns Vegas, and before that it was San Diego. Well, BYU generally, until Notre Dame. Let's move on. Lai P says, time to make a bunch of second accounts. That's right.
Well,
that's right. Maples, good morning to you. The college football playoff changed the luster of the bowls. It did. And I don't like that because growing up, again, 49 years old, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl was a big deal, right? Like those bowl games on New Year's Day. Like I remember watching the Gator Bowl. Like, I mean, you got excited because it was, but now we got to wait weeks to see this it just doesn't feel the same. I'm not saying it's bad. It's not. I think the 12-team expansion, I think is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think getting 12 teams in, I'm not a 16, 20, 12 teams is more than enough. If we had 12 teams in this year, I think two things. I think the conversation would not be nearly as heated, and I think Utah would be going to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Right? But look at BYU. If you're BYU and you have to be one of the 12 best teams in the country, you have a much larger chance of getting there.
Well, and how much more motivation is there?
right? But right now you don't. So I think the 12-team thing is a big deal. Tyler P says, I'm 45 years old, so the Rose Bowl was always a big deal. Yeah, same, dude. Absolutely right. Ron says the Rose Bowl and the pyramids have a lot in common. Come on now. M. Morris says they have their own Rose Bowl parade. They do. They absolutely do. Through the streets of Pasadena, California.
And I'm not being a hater. It's just not that it doesn't do much for me.
No, you've never been a parade guy.
Not a parade guy. Not a parade guy.
Would you go to the Rose Bowl parade if when we lived in LA, you had, and the girls, like all the girls in our family would go to the Rose Bowl parade.
Yeah.
We never went.
No.
We never went.
Because I'm not going just to go to a damn parade.
Yeah.
I got better things to do.